Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. If you've watched my videos for a little while, you'll no doubt remember that there's a girl called Liz, I mention every now and then, who has solved several ciphers in Black Ops 3. And today's video is no exception. She's solved not just one or two, but 3 new ciphers that we're going to be diving into and analysing today. I'll talk a little bit about the process behind the solves, and then I'll predominantly talk about how the plaintext affects the storyline and things like that. If you're looking forward to the vid, then drop a like. Let's do this. The first cipher that she solved was in the 5th issue of the Call of Duty Zombies comic that came out yesterday, and I'll be doing a full reading of that on my channel nice and soon. I was going to do it the day it came out, but it was too damn hot here, and I couldn't bear to have my lights on like this, and so I took a day off from YouTube that day and essentially decided that I would allow myself to breathe, god dang it. And I also got this. This is completely unrelated, but I got an Oculus. And I think I might upload some videos with this thing this weekend, which I reckon should be pretty damn awesome, but that's besides the point, okay? The first cipher that she solved was in issue 5 of the comic, and it states the following. The voices of darkness and light will call out across time and space. Jason, why? Why, Jason? Or Craig, for that matter. Craig Houston, why are you doing this to us? Throughout all of these comics, you continually give us ciphers that basically say nothing. You might as well not be trying to solve these things half the time, because you go back to, for example, the first comic, the first cipher we ever got was its knowledge is a curse, ambiguous as hell. Then we got the keepers shall rise once more, ambiguous as hell. Primus will fail, already seen that. Shadows are gathering, a great evil will be unleashed. Like, I think you get the point. These ciphers basically aren't saying anything. They are waffle, pretty much. And so, getting a message like, the voices of darkness and light will call out across time and space, is essentially equivalent to shadows are gathering, a great evil will be unleashed, and things like that. So, that particular message doesn't really say very much, to be honest. The voices of darkness and light, the Apothicons and the Keepers, calling out across time and space, we saw that in Black Ops 3, okay. Then, Liz solved another one, so she had back-to-back cipher solves here, and the result of the second was, the man-fool seeks redemption. He will not find it. Now that one's a little more interesting to me, because it says, the man-fool, which is a really weird turn of phrase. Whose man says that? Who calls someone a man-fool? Sure, a man-child, like Monty calls Richtofen, but a man-fool? Just feels wrong. So that's a thing, apparently. I'm still thinking that this is Monty talking about Richtofen, or I'm presuming so at least. The man-fool seeks redemption. He will not find it. It's interesting that he's seeking redemption. The fact that he needs to be redeemed, is that related to his curse that he hides? Only the curse survives. I've talked about that in previous videos, such as my There's Gotta Be More series, but slightly more interesting one, that. And the key for this is interesting too, because the key for that cipher is SIIGWWSG, okay? That's the key. Doesn't sound very interesting, but it is, okay? And I'll explain why in just a moment. Liz basically looked at that cipher. She looked at the opening couple of words, KYVPY, and was like, hold on, have I seen this before? If this is a Porter cipher, then maybe if I've seen this kind of thing elsewhere, then the thing I've seen elsewhere is also a Porter cipher. So Liz went back to issue 4 of the comic and realized there was an unsolved cipher in there that started off KYVYC, etc. So that opening part of it was very similar to the same cipher that we were now getting in the 5th issue of the comic. So what Liz did is she tried to brute force it using a Porter ciphering program, and what do you know, she found a message, and the key is very similar, SIIGWWMGK. So, in that instance, the reason that there's so much similarity between those two messages isn't just because they're Porter, but also the start of the plaintext message is the same. They actually both start with the word the, and the keys as well both start with SIIGW blah 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 blah. So there's some overlap there, which meant that she saw one solve and went, hold on, I know that this is a solve for another thing. So the plaintext of that third decrypted message was, the innocent must be protected. Jason Blundell, you've done it again, my boy. you've given us a message that we're already well aware of, and nobody is curious about whether or not the innocent needs to be protected at this point, because clearly she does. So that's one of these ciphers, man, where we get through it, we make a breakthrough, or Liz makes a breakthrough in this case, and then it's like, this is fine. This is absolutely fine. It's not actually new info. It's not really that interesting. It's kind of going to discourage people from actually bothering to jump into ciphers and spend a load of time on them because the payoff is so low. But this is fine. That's essentially what has happened here. So the innocent must be protected. Okay, we can relate it to Sam. We can relate it to Maxis saying that as well. The child must be protected at all costs, etc. The interesting differentiation that Maxis makes between the child and the children and things like that. And he's now referring to the innocent as well. All sorts of business that you can kind of work in there. But at the end of the day, it's very much along lines that we've already seen. There is one thing I do want to call out, though, and that's the fact that the method of enciphering and the key used in the 5th issue of the comic were pretty much the same as that used in the 4th issue, means to me, at least, that there's a chance that Jason saw us miss that cipher in issue 4, he saw us unable to decode it, and he basically threw us a bone, and for that reason, if that is indeed what has happened here, that potentially might mean that there's something about that message, that innocent must be protected message, that is relevant to other stuff that's coming up, or that Jason wants us to know now. It's one of those techniques he uses where if he needs something solved as soon as possible, he can kind of organically hint us, whereas if he knows that something's going to be related to the depths of Black Ops 4, he can make it super hard so we don't solve it for ages anyway. Like, that's a technique that he uses. I've talked about it all the time, and so here, the fact that he's reusing a method he's already used, and nearly an entire key he's already used, makes me feel like maybe there is something deeper going on here. And so that's why I'm going to probably be titling this video, like, sure, cipher's solved or whatever, but also, is Jason trying to kind of prod us in the right direction right now? Because if he is, then I'm extremely curious as to what that direction might be. Because another thing that we have to bear in mind is that to get that 4th issue kind of clue, we also need the 5th issue clue. And what if it's the other way round, and it's actually the 4th issue is meant to be hinting towards how we solve the 5th issue? And in that case, the man fool seeks redemption, he will not find it. Is there something in there that is more interesting? Or in there that he's going to need to build on in future stuff that he might be planning for the rest of the year? I think it's possible. I don't know exactly what it would manifest as, because I don't know what else Treyarch's going to be really doing this year, other than patching in things like the M1911 and stuff like that, and the AK-74U, of course, and patching the game and fixing bugs, etc. Like, I don't know what other kind of momentous things they might have up their sleeves, but if any of it is related to those two messages, the man fool seeks redemption, he will not find it, or the innocent must be protected, then, I mean, to be honest, I called it. So, I've been MrRoflWaffles. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, like I've said, drop a like. That would be much appreciated. And I'll see you guys next time. Okay? Tally ho. Bye-bye.